We are tackling one of the most tedious and complex scenes in digital art, creating a high contrast night view looking out from an indoor room. If you mess up the fundamental perspective or struggle to render hundreds of tiny windows, the entire piece risks falling apart. We are starting on an A4 canvas with dark blue background to set the night tone. The initial step is defining the skyline by adding these blocks. These blocks can be added by a special brush as shown on the screen. We intentionally leave gaps and try to choose color that are contrasting so that it would stand out from the background. Like these light blue tones that we're using will not stand out from the background. So we need to use colors like dark blue and a color lighter than the background to create the contrast and make it stand out from the background. We intentionally leave gaps and use slightly contrasting colors, aiming to show that the buildings closer to us are darker while those farther away are lighter. This is necessary in context but looks rough and blocked out right now because this has no details added to it yet. Now, we are going to use the this brings us to the first major cheat code. Rather than manually drawing the complex lines from the room perspective, we add a black solid shape from the foreground room and immediately use the adjust tool. This is the adjust tool that we're talking about, specifically distort. By grabbing the corners and pulling, we instantly manipulate the black foreground, blocking the convincing 3D interior perspective. This transformational step is the first reveal, providing intermediate clarity on the interior space that was previously confusing. Now we have to establish the night sky behind the building. Working backward from the furthest element, we utilize soft tools like the Gouache Plus because it is easy blendability, working with shades of blues and grays to create the initial depth of night sky. You do not need to be perfect here. We will keep adding layers to create depth. The cloud textures can be easily manipulated by the way we want. We can add lighter clouds and darker clouds, and we try to make them look fluffy and as natural as possible. And then we use the smudge tool to blend and to create the smooth effect. Here, my aim is to keep adding lines and windows wherever I find it necessary, like adding windows to certain distances, windows both horizontal and vertical as required. This is not a really uniform process. I will give you. Uh, Now, the biggest hurdle we face is drawing these uniform rectangles manually, which are small and would cause you to lose your mind and incredible tedious. Here is the next time saving hack, the window magic trick. Instead of manually drawing, we switch to rectangle selection tool. It allows us to rapidly place selection boxes, rectangles over the building masses where we want the light to shine through. This step isolates the background so we can fill the light without worrying about the lines going inside. Now you can see that I'm marking the selection tools of where I want the selected areas to be. You also can draw horizontal lines within the selection to add diversity and make it look better. The goal is to keep placing rectangles, maintaining the size, or deliberately varying it to add creative freedom, ensuring that the window light is balanced and dark lines for contrast. Now you'll see that I can color the portions of the windows as necessary. The windows are now glowing, but the light looks harsh, which lacks realism. Now it's time to design the window. So, keeping in mind that the foreground window frame using more rigid brush and lighter color to add highlight to the edges of the structure, like earlier. So you can see that I am naming it as a window and using the rigid brush to create the frames. Okay. Then we're going to move to using the window glass itself, applying a watercolor brush, reducing the opacity of the watercolor brush. We are going to experiment with the blending modes and go to hard light on the glass effect to make the atmosphere pop. Our focus is to shift on drawing the interiors. That is, I have decided to draw two desks so that it looks like an interior of an office. We have the entire scene rendered with depth, so we turn back to the interior to create a high contrast. We'll add a simple office desk in the foreground using a brownish color, ensuring the front objects have a slight highlight to guide the viewer's eye. The final piece will be a lamp, which serves as an intensely bright anchor to maximize the contrast of the whole night scene. After adding the physical uh, table structure, we're going to make sure that it has the contrasting details of dark brown and light brown. Okay, as you can see, I've fast forwarded the process. So you can see the laptop I've made, the keyboard I've made. It's using very simple tools of blocking. Okay, I'm gonna just add details. Then one more thing I'm gonna add is the books here, so that it looks like an office, obviously. And then I've added a lamp. So now let me tell you the fourth cheat code here, that is adding the hard light. This is the lamp, and behind the layer of the lamp, we had added this uh, hard light effect, which has been used to create that intense glow effect. So you can do it using this yellow color, so that when you give this yellow color, it looks like real light. And you can Gaussian blur it to give it a subtle effect. Now we're going to draw a human figure here. Uh, let's create another layer. I have created this rough figure, And now I'm gonna go and draw a real figure using the selection tool freehand mode. So you can go from here to the freehand mode and try to draw the human figure, as you can see. uh, it's a very simple process if you are well aware and well versed with drawing human figures. If you have problems, I also have a YouTube video on my channel showing how to draw it, how to get the proportions correct, and how to master human figure altogether. So now let me just add a lot of details and come back again. So now as we can see, we have added details of the book. Now behind the book layer, we're going to add this light effect so that her face is shining. Okay, and these highlights make the overall composition look better and highlighted. So thank you for watching. Do check out other videos on my YouTube channel and hope you learned something great today. Thank you.